about love. And when we hear about this crazy love, it's not like just a little bit of love. It's like a huge, huge, crazy love that God has for us. When we hear about it, it's going to make us say, love does what? That's right. So today we're going to find out more about this crazy love, okay? So yesterday we talked about Corey Ten Boom, and do you remember there was something that needed help? The baby. And then they found out there were more Jews that needed help. What did they need? Did they need food? No. What did they need?
They needed a place to hide.
That's right. They needed a place to hide. And who said that they were going to help? Do you remember? Corey Ten Boom's family said they were going to help. Now, was it going to be dangerous? Oh, yes. Very dangerous. Because the Nazis were trying to hurt the Jews. So anybody who tried to help the Jews might also get hurt, right? They also might get hurt. And so Corey's family had to decide, if this is dangerous, should we do it? Usually, if it's dangerous, should we do it? But in this case, Corey knew that they needed to help. Do you remember why? Do you remember she said why it's important that we help? She remembered something about the Good Shepherd. Does anybody remember? She remembered something about the Good Shepherd. Yes.
Because they needed to help him, otherwise the baby.
That's right. Otherwise the baby could be killed. And also, Corey, when she looked at the cross, she remembered that the Good Shepherd did what? What did the Good Shepherd do? He died for us. He gave his life for his sheep. He gave his life for us. And so Corey said, if the Good Shepherd gave his life for his sheep, then that's what we have to be willing to do for other people too. So, Corey Ten Boom's family lived in this house. Can you kind of see? You can come back. You don't need to see the words, but I'll point it out to you. Does it look like a pretty big house?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty big house. Do you know why? Because it was two houses. So Corey Ten Boom's grandfather, it was two houses, but they needed a big place because they were going to have a watch shop in the bottom, right? And then they had a workroom in the back to fix all the washes. And then they needed room for everybody to live upstairs. So they got two houses, and then they put them together. But because it was two houses, and they put it together, there was lots of, walls they had to break down, and it wasn't always even. And they had to build lots of stairs and lots of things. And so God knew they were going to need this special, crazy, crooked house so that they could create a hiding place. That's right. Now, where would you put a hiding place if you had a house like this? Where do you think you would put it? Tell me what you think. Over there. In the basement. Now, unfortunately, houses in Holland. Oops. Houses in Holland. This is not a house in Holland. Oh no, what happened?
I know. Underwater.
Alright, here we go. Houses in Holland don't have basements, right? This is all above the ground. So we can't go with the basement. And the front door is right here on the corner, right? Where the watch shop is. Where would you put a hiding place? That's right. Secret basements would be important, but it would be really hard for them to dig under the house right now because the whole house would fall into the ground. So they can't use a basement. What can they do?
They have to make a teensy little place and then build it back again. So, they punch a huge hole in the wall, and then the people go in there. And
That's right.
And they give them food, and then they bury them back in the hole forever.
Oh, they buried them back in the hole forever. Well, we hope they don't bury them back in the hole forever. But if this is the front door, and if police are going to come and check, if the Nazis are going to come and check from here, where would be the best place to hide?
On the roof.
What do you guys think? Right next to the front door?
No.
No. Upstairs here?
Yes. On the
It would
roof.
put on the roof, but then it's not warm, right? So the best place to hide is probably the farthest from the front door. The farthest place place from the front door, right? So all the way up here. Now guess whose room this was? This is Corey's bedroom. So they had to build a secret place in Corey's bedroom. Because to get from the front door all the way up here,
How about they can hide
then in closets, right, but then they might be found, right? So what they did, I'm going to show you, they had to build a wall, a fake wall. Do you see him putting up a fake wall? And then do you see him putting up a fake wall next to the bed? Do you see the beds right there? So they put up a fake wall behind her bed next to her closet. This is like the closet. Does that kind of make sense? Yeah? And so then they built this fake wall up with brick, and then they covered it with paint, and they covered it with wallpaper, so it just looked like the wall of her room. So when you go inside, it just looks like her room, and nobody would guess that there is a secret room back there. Now, does that look like a big room back there?
No.
It was very tiny. It was probably only one person's width, like this, like only this big. But guess how many people would hide in there at one time? If it's only this wide, it's only this wide. How many people would hide in there at one time?
One.
Only one? That would be comfortable, right? One person, they can move around, that'd be okay.
Two.
Or maybe 6 or 7 people who would have to hide there at one time. So it was very, very crowded in that small little space. But could they push each other?
No.
No. Could they make any sound at all?
It'll break the wall.
No. Well, it might break the wall, but also because then the Nazis would find them. And so during this time, they would have 6 or 7 people in the house with them. Now, did they hide in that wall all the time? No, actually. Most of the time they lived in the house because it's a huge house. And the only people who were living there were Corey, Betsy, her sister, and her father, and their father. Yes?
But you can just lock the door.
You could just lock the door of this whole house?
Have the password, and so the Nazis can't guess what the password is.
That would have been nice if the Nazis respected
Yeah,
them,
but they
right?
can break it.
Exactly. The Nazis did not listen to people because they took over the country and they could do whatever they wanted, which meant they could come to your house at any time and go through your whole house and take whatever they wanted or check for whoever was there, and they could do that at any time. It was a really scary time because when you go home at night and you lock the door, do you feel pretty safe in your house?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can anybody come in?
No.
No, you won't let them in, and they can't break in, right? And if they were to break in, who could you call?
Police.
The police. And would the police protect you?
Yeah.
That's right. But during this war, guess who was the police? The Nazis, right? And guess who were the bad people that were going around and taking people's houses and taking things? Also the Nazis. So nobody could protect them. So they had to find a way to hide. Yes?
People hide under the bed.
Yes? They could try, but do you think they could find you if you were hiding under the bed?
Yeah.
Absolutely. The Nazis were pretty smart.
But still, the police did not help you because police have only help the Nazis.
Yeah, the police can't help the Nazis, right? Okay, we're going to move on to the next picture. Hold your questions for a little bit. So all the people would live in the houses, live in the bedrooms, 6 or 7 people at a time, and then they would stay there. But then, if somebody rang the bell, then they knew it was time to. So they would have to run from all over the house, whether they were in here or in the bedrooms, even in the middle of the night. They'd have to run and hide all the way up here. They'd have to ride all the stairs, take all the stairs up, and then crawl into this little hole under Corey's closet. I don't know if you can see it in here. So this is like the top view of Corey's room. Can you see her bed? Yeah, and this is her door. This is the little dresser table. And then do you see how this man is on the floor? Because the hole to enter the room at the back was through the closet at the bottom. You'd have to crawl in, get into the space, and then Corey would have to close the back piece of the closet so nobody could see. So when people went into the room, it just looked like a normal bedroom with a closet with clothes in it, and nothing under the bed, or nothing behind the door, or nothing in the closet because it was just closed, right? Does that make sense? Now, if you have 6 or 7 people staying in this house, all in the rooms and different things, and they had to get up into this room, how fast do you think you could do it?
100 seconds.
13 minutes?
I have a question.
Okay, question.
Why don't they have elevators?
Yes, they
They
did
can
not
just
build
get up
elevators.
quick.
I know. They did not have elevators in their house.
Okay,
Yes, how long? How long?
I could just push the elevator up. And that's perfect.
Sorry, I a nuclear bomb. Yes, unfortunately, not everybody can get a nuclear bomb. In fact, I don't know if nuclear bombs were invented yet during this time. Later in the war, yes.
What if they could like if the Nazis even touched the door, if they were touched it, then they would zoom away.
They would zoom away.
Yeah.
The people would zoom away?
Like anywhere like
Oh, you mean if they touched the Nazis touched the door, they would get zoomed away?
yeah.
Yeah, we've been watching so many cartoons, haven't we? If we could do that, that would be amazing. But they didn't have Zoom technology. They didn't have nuclear bombs. But let me tell you about how they had to do this, okay? This was back in a long time ago. And so all they could do was run and hide. And they could do it in under 1 minute. Can you imagine running all the way from here, wherever they were in the house, if they were sitting, then they'd have to run upstairs and hide within a minute. Now, they did this so well that Corrie ten Boom's family hid Jews for about a year and a half, almost 2 years. Guess how many people they were able to hide?
7.
Because what would happen was they would hide the people, and then when it was safe, somebody else would help these people escape and go to another country or help them hide somewhere else. And they would hide and hide and hide until they could get out of their country where the Nazis were, and they could get to a safe place where the Nazis weren't. Does that make sense? So over the course of a year and a half, Corey's family would have 6 or 7 people at a time in a house, and then they would go to somewhere safe and they would move on. 6 or 7 people again, and then they would move on. 6 or 7 people again, and then they move on. And they did this over and over and over, and they helped over.
Did the Nazis ever find them?
I'm going to tell you that part. But they were able to help over 800 people. From babies to older kids to adults to grandparents. Because Corey's family knew that when we love people, we're willing to sacrifice for them. Just like the Good Shepherd sacrificed for us. And so because their family knew that, they knew they had to help. And because they were willing to help, even though it meant they might get caught, even though it meant they were in danger, they were able to help over 800 Jews escape from the Netherlands during this time. Isn't that amazing? That makes you say, love does.
What?
Love saves 800 people. Yeah. I know. They didn't have access to airplanes, and they couldn't just run away like that because they had to always run away when it was dark, when nobody could see them, right? But you're right. Unfortunately, some people started suspecting something is happening because the house should only have 3 people in it, right? But people started seeing people in the window, and something was not right, so then the Nazis tried to catch them. So the Nazis sent somebody, a spy, who pretended to be a Jew. And he went to Corey and he said, I really need your help. Can you please help me? And what did Corey say? Of course she said yes. But she was also really sick at the time and really dizzy, and she just said, okay, yes. But she had no idea he was actually a spy. And so he said, I'm going to come back later. Can you give me some money so I can help, so I can run away? And she said, okay. So then he came later, but she didn't realize who was hiding outside the door. And so when they let that spy in, the Nazis went into the house. And everybody, what happened to the 6 or 7 people who were hiding? They went into the hiding place. They did. They made it into the hiding place. And Corey was sick, so she was actually in her room. And so she closed the closet. They made it inside. But Corey and her sister and her father were all arrested. The Nazis took them and took them to prison. So Corey and her sister Betsy and her father all had to go to prison. They lost their home, they lost their freedom, and their friends, the Jews that were hiding there, were stuck. Because the only way they could come back out is if somebody opened the closet again. But amazingly, the Jews hid in the little tiny space, the hidden room, for 2 days. For 2 days. And then some friends of Corey's knew that they were maybe there and went to the house, and they were able to escape. So, isn't that amazing? That God kept them safe there. Now, Corey and Betsy and her father, they all had to go to prison, and they knew that they were going to have to sacrifice. they were willing to do this. Love, this amazing love, sacrifices.
When did they
for
get out of the thing?
We're going to have to talk about that tomorrow and the day after and the day after that. Is that okay? Can we wait till tomorrow to find out more? No? You're just going to have to wait, okay? Yes, question. How could they let them, right? I know you probably have so many questions about this, and I'm hoping maybe you could ask your teachers in class or something if you have more questions about the war and things like that. Teachers, are you okay with that? If they ask you guys more questions. And then I will be coming to your class also one time this week, and you can ask me more questions then too. So try to remember those good questions, okay? Just hang on to them for now because we've got a little bit more to go through. Because I wanted to tell you about someone else's sacrifice. Because Corey was willing to help the Jews, right? Wouldn't help a little baby. But what if the people God was asking you to help were mean? Or what if the people who needed you to save them were really bad criminals? Because that's what happened to Jesus. Do you know this story? Yeah? Jesus lived a long time ago, and he did many things during his life. Healed people, took care of people, and he came to share God's love with people. But at the end of his life, he knew that there was going to be a sacrifice. He knew that God wanted him to sacrifice. And so at the time, so what happened was all the Jewish people at that time did not like Jesus. And so they arrested him. But this man, Pilate, he said, well, but, there's also this other guy, Barabbas, who's a really bad criminal who's made a lot of choices to hurt people. So do you think I should release Barabbas, or do you think I should release Jesus? What do you guys think? It makes more sense to release Jesus. But they said, no, release us Barabbas. What? They want the criminal. So then they had to send Jesus to die. Now, Jesus, could he have broken his chains and flown away? Did he have Zoom power?
Yeah.
He did. Could he have been like a nuclear bomb and just destroyed everybody?
Yeah.
He could have. But did he choose that? He didn't. All the people said, let Jesus be crucified. And he did that. Love does. What?
Look at his head.
Love sacrifices. And so I'm going to teach you one motion. We're going to skip over that. But we're going to do motions this week to help us remember what love does. Okay? So do you remember the motion for love does what? Love does what? And so today we're talking about how love sacrifices. So we say, love does what? And love, do you remember the motion for love from the song? Love sacrifices. Because you give up. You give up your house, you give up your freedom, you give up your safety, and ultimately, Jesus gave up his life. Yeah, love sacrifices. So can you try that with me again? Love does what? Love. Can everybody do love? Love sacrifices. All right, very good. So as we talk about love this week, this is just one part of the crazy love that God has for us. Okay? Let's pray, and then if you have more questions, you can talk to your teachers or talk to me when I come. Okay? Let's go ahead and pray. Jesus, we thank you so much that your love sacrifices. And we know that we get to experience that love because of what you did on the cross. And thank you for Corey's example of how her family sacrificed everything because of how you sacrificed for them. And so we pray that you would help us to continue to learn from Corey's story and from Jesus' life. In Jesus'